Hello everyone, welcome back to the Hindu Explained series, and a new week begins for all of us. And on that note, if you have anything that you haven't revised, don't worry about it. Move on. Okay, if you did not meet any of your targets, move on from that and look forward to what you can do in the coming week. Okay, the part of success and the path to it is always to keep carrying on and not to be bogged down by things that you might not have done, right? So on that note, on this Monday morning, we will be discussing the Central Vista judgment, points of things that you all need to note about them at the end of the video. Okay, and also another thing, that in this week I will be covering the Middle East crisis, most of the important issues, a brief about all these Middle Eastern countries and what is the conflict or internal issues about them. So we'll be doing a 7 minute at the end of the video every day about this throughout the week. Okay, now let's move on with the doubts first. Okay, so the first doubt a lot of students had today was about curative petitions. What is a curative petition? See, curative petitions is an invention of the Supreme Court beyond the Constitution, where under Article 371, 137, okay, Article 137, which gives the Supreme Court the power to review its own decisions. So after a review petition also fails, so you approach the Supreme Court, then let's say the judgment did not come in your favor, you file a review petition within 30 days, and then that is also rejected. Then you realize that there were certain biases or principle of natural justice that the court did not follow. Then you have the right to file a curative petition. There is no timeline to file a curative petition, but the earlier the better. Court does not hear curative petitions in open court, but in the chambers of the Supreme Court judges. Okay, so the three senior most judges of the Supreme Court usually hear the curative petitions. Okay, so under what article do curative petitions come under? Article 137. Okay, then they are filed after the review petition, only on the grounds of violation of principles of natural justice or non-appraisal of any facts or principles or a biasness on behalf of the judiciary. Okay, so any of these three conditions should be there and has to always been filed after the review petition. Okay, so on that note, that is about curative petitions. Another doubt that students had was about remembering the organizations and their heads. See, certain organizations that are always in news. So for example, European Union, the Brexit. So the Prime Minister of Britain and the head of the European Union becomes important. Then the SAARC nations. There was a question about SAARC, the members, then about ASEAN. ASEAN countries who are members of ASEAN, if the Prime Minister conducts any meeting with them, so you should have an idea about that. And of the P5 nations. So for example, the UNSC, India has become a member of UNSC. So you should know who are the other members of the UNSC. We had discussed that, right? Who are the P5 nations? Who are the heads of the P5 nations? Okay, so that is also something that you should know. See, these are things. And for example, different agencies. So the WHO has been in news. So who is the head of the WHO? Who is the chief scientist? Soumya Swaminathan, an Indian, is on the panel of chief scientist of WHO. So that is also something you should know. When, for example, the vaccines that India has approved, those two vaccines, Serum Institute and Bharat Biotech, so about them, their heads, so Adhar Poonawalla and Krishna Ella. Okay, so those names, these are the names that have been in news throughout the year and you should know them. Okay, these organizations, a brief history, we have talked about all of that and keep making notes about them. Okay, so in your current affairs notebook or note or your drive, wherever you're making these notes, make headings about these things, jot down those names. Okay, then moving on, another doubt that students had was about diplomacy, okay, or in general diplomatic gauntlet. So see, gauntlet or diplomatic gauntlet is basically when countries shadow each other or force each other into something, okay, that they have dropped a bombshell on this country. Let's say when Donald Trump had accused his own allies, that is France, Germany, United Kingdom, of not doing enough for the NATO. So that was a diplomatic gauntlet on them, okay. When you leave someone shell shocked, surprised, or something comes out of the blue in diplomacy, that is known as diplomatic gauntlet in general terminology. Another thing on that front was Pakistan's deep state. Now, what is deep state? Deep state are those organizations that are not visible above, or their activities are not known to the public at large. Such organizations, so for example, in India, we have the RAW, or the Intelligence Bureau. We do not come to know about these activity of these organizations, right? What they are doing. Similarly, Pakistan's deep state is known as the ISI and the agencies who are involved in such covert activities. So during the Kargil war, even the government of Pakistan was unaware about the actions of the military. So that was considered something to have been done by the Pakistan's deep state. So deep state are those organizations of the government that are not known to the public or the world at large. Work that these organizations are doing, covert operations, right? So for example, when Israel had captured and kidnapped Adolf Eichmann from Argentina, that was a covert action by the Israeli deep state, okay. So organizations whose work we are not aware of. With Pakistan, it is even more so, because see, state sponsor terrorism, terrorists that Pakistan's military trains and then sends them to take out revenge on India, right? Bleed us by 1,000 cuts, or some, the policy that Pakistan has, that if we cannot win a war, we will wound India by 1,000 cuts, right? So that policy of Pakistan, that is part of the Pakistani deep state, okay. Then last doubt that a lot of students did have yesterday was about inter-caste, interfaith marriages. Now see, now that is something that should, from the word itself, should be known. Intercaste, so different sects and castes are there within religions, right? So for example, Buddhism has Hinayan and Mahayan cultures, Jains have Tirthankars and another sect there. Muslims have Shia and Sunnis. Within them also they have different caste and categories, right? For example, the Ahmadiyyas, or Hindu religion has different caste and jatis, right? From different Varna ashrams. So within that, when you marry between in the same religion but in different sect or caste, that is intercaste. And when it is different people of different religions, so Hinduism and Islam, or Christianity and Hinduism, Jainism and Buddhism, okay, so those are known as inter-religious marriages, okay. Another doubt a lot of you did have was also about the human strain and bird flu. So see, there are different possibilities of how it can be. The most obvious one is that if you consume the meat of the bird that was infected with bird flu. But even if there are, for example, we talked about different strains yesterday, and only one subtype of it can get transferred from birds to humans, okay. So even if you might consume meat of another meat of a bird, and that may be carrying bird flu, but you may not get it, okay. So science is not that clear, but we know that for this one subtype it is possible to consume get infected through consumption of meat, being the direct obvious reason, okay. Now let's move on with the newspaper today. So see, on the front page you see this headline: Q3 private investment in manufacturing jumps 102%. What is this 102% rise from? It is the rise from the Q2 of the same financial year, okay. Usually this comparison is from quarter to quarter from previous year, okay, in Q3 of that year to Q3 of this year. This analysis report that we see is from Q2 to Q3. So private investment has increased, but government expenditure has fallen, okay. So that is what we need to know. As I've always told you, the numbers may change, but the policies are something that we have to keep a note of, okay. Then yesterday, the farmer protest have not made any headway as of now. The Supreme Court will be hearing a review petition of the Aadhaar judgment. So we'll have to wait for the outcome of that, and we'll probably discuss that if there is something significant for you all, okay. Then moving on, the standard operating procedure for vaccination by the government was released. The drive is supposed to begin from January 16 for frontline workers, okay. So that is the standard operating procedure plus preparation for the Republic Day parade are going on. We might not have any chief guest for the Republic Day parade after Prime Minister of United Kingdom backed out. Okay, so the total size of the parade and the length of it has been cut down in light of COVID. Okay, then moving on, apart from that, on the national front there is not much update for us. Okay, so we'll move on to the editorial front. Okay, so on the main editorial is about the Central Vista project and different legal principles involved in it. I will discuss this at the end of it. Okay, on the left hand side, gearing up. As India starts on vaccination, the government must bolster public trust in the process. That, see, even if vaccination drive is about to begin, doesn't mean that people are wholeheartedly interested in it. To reduce the trust deficit in vaccines, public figures in America, United Kingdom have taken the vaccination on live television to infuse more trust in the vaccines. We know that, see, these vaccines have not been given complete approval but are only given emergency approval. That means that, see, there are two factors at work. One, that cases in India are now receding. The number of deaths from COVID are also now fallen below 200 per day, which has happened for the first time since May 2020, right? So the number of cases and the mortality rate is falling. So people might not feel that they really need to guard themselves up. Plus, there have been reports about vaccine volunteers not being tracked or other kinds of reports about the vaccine trials in general. So that is something that could reduce trust, and therefore the government, apart from ensuring that the vaccine drive goes ahead smoothly, should also take steps to increase the amount of trust in the vaccination process, right? Then on the another fell by the fire. To avert another Bhandara like hospital inferno, governments must address underlying concerns. Now this is about an unfortunate event that happened in Maharashtra, about a hospital where in the ICU for babies there was a fire. Unfortunately, 10 babies passed away because of that. It has been found in preliminary inquiry that the hospital did not have any fire system, alarm system, or hose for fire dousing hoses. That is something that is shocking in general. And because, see, when people admit their children to hospitals with ICUs and all, they expect that things will be better here. The reason why they go and pays a little higher for such services is because they expect security. But because such an event has taken place, it shows that there is a real need to ensure security and keep our vigilance high. Okay, it's about all these events, and the onus is on the government for that. Then there is an editorial by former RBI Governor Dhruvi Subbarao, the planning an exit out of easy money regime. So see, there are 2-3 things here that you all need to know. That, see, when there is higher, 2-3 concepts become important from this editorial. One, that, see, whenever there is higher amount of foreign investment in a country, the value of the currency of that country may appreciate. Okay, it may increase, because if too many people are investing, the reason why they are doing so is because of higher returns. But when too many people start investing in the same place, that means that they consider that currency to be better off or to be sustainable in the long run. What this does is it increases the value of that currency. India, being a developing country, needs our currency value to remain low in comparison to countries where we want to export or trade, right? Why would someone who can buy something in United States prefer to buy a product from India? Is probably because that product is cheaper. But if our currency becomes equally expensive as the United States dollar, then they will have no incentive, and that would ruin our export. Already our exports are low. So that is one fact. If there is too much investment in a currency, the value of that currency appreciates. Second, when there is easy supply of credit, then inflation in the economy increases. So after COVID-19 lockdown, the government and the RBI have increased or eased out the process of taking credit. That has made money supply higher, and because of that, inflation in the economy has been higher in general. When we had discussed the previous quarter inflation results, we had talked about how it is higher than the bandwidth of the RBI, right? which is 2 to 6. So inflation was higher than 6%. Okay, and because of that, so what this editorial is talking about is this concern of the RBI that if it stops the money supply too much, then infusion of capital in the economy may reduce, and secondly, if it makes these investments go continuous, then the value of currency may appreciate, which will in long term affect our exports. So this is the dilemma that RBI faces, which Dr. Dhruvi Subbarao has highlighted for us. Give it a read. If there are any concerns that you cannot understand, put it in the comment section. I will be very happy to address them. Okay. Then on the left hand side is an op-ed about two speeches. So yeah, recently on December 23rd, we had talked about how Prime Minister Modi had delivered a speech at the Aligarh Muslim University. 100 years of Aligarh Muslim University had been completed, and this is in contrast to two speeches. In 1948, our first Prime Minister Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru had also given a speech at the AMU. The last Prime Minister to do so was Lal Bahadur Shastri, right, in 1964. So this is an analysis of those two speeches and how things have come full circle. The concerns and hope that Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru had raised before the AMU or students of AMU, Prime Minister Modi has now stated that those have come true, and that AMU, when he stated that you are India or you are a microcosm of India, so that was an analysis of these two speeches, something that you can all give it a read in general. Okay. Then on the second hand, left hand side, the second op-ed is about lithium mining. We will be discussing two important things from this at the end. Okay. The data point then highlights the countries where which vaccine has been approved, who are the countries who have given or have started the size of their vaccination program is at what height, plus the stage. Okay, so how many countries are immunizing how many kind of people. Okay, so there are 5 categories that this chart has divided it for us: 1, 2, 3, 3 plus and 4, which is last is universal. So only Bahrain has, as of now, has announced that it will vaccinate everyone in their country for COVID-19. Okay, so give this a read. Do make notes about we have been making notes about vaccines in general, so just clarify and add on information from this. Okay, moving on the national front, again there is not much news for us to discuss. Okay, there is political news about different elections. There has been untimely rain which has affected crops. Then there is analysis of how China has increased its presence on the South Pangong Tso Lake. There are pictures by the people of Ladakh who have released them about the tents and different trucks and vehicles that China has parked in Ladakh. Okay, this is the cold desert region of Ladakh. Okay, then farmer protest, they will burn the copies of the farm laws. The government has stated it will not repeal the laws, so the impasse between the farmers is going on. Okay, then here is a mine of vanadium that has been found, or deposits of vanadium have been found in Arunachal Pradesh. Okay, vanadium is used to strengthen the steel and different alloys. Okay, now it is one of the rare earth minerals. Most of its manufacturing and mining is done in China. US also had deposits of this mineral, but it stopped the mining of it because it causes huge amount of environmental harm. Plus the cost of mining this mineral is far more than the environmental costs that we suffer because of it and the long term effects of it. Therefore, in US it has been paused, but Geological Survey of India has found mineral core of vanadium in Arunachal Pradesh. It is a high biodiversity hotspot region. So therefore is something that needs to be keeping a note of. You should note that, see, where is vanadium used and where the deposits have been found. Okay, so that is information that you should make a note of. Then moving on the international front, the black box and other parts of the Indonesian plane that had crashed, we had talked about it, have been retrieved and more information about the crash once it comes out, about why it happened and how it happened. We will discuss that in more depth. Okay. Then apart from that, on the left hand top bottom side of the page is a news about Qataris head to Saudi Arabia, reopening of border. So see, this news is about the lifting of embargo by other Arab nations on Qatar. Okay, a controversy, a conflict had been going on. Tomorrow we will talk about it in more depth because there are different things. Okay, but as of now, make a note that this headline is about a conflict in Middle East where countries had placed a blockade on Qatar. Arab countries of the Middle East had placed a blockade on Qatar, which has now been lifted. Okay, so we will talk about it tomorrow and in the coming week, right? Impeachment proceedings against Donald Trump are to be initiated in the House of Representatives. The result of that, we will be taking a note of that. Okay, then investment news not relevant for us. On the sporting front, again, yesterday there was racism found in the crowd at the Sydney cricket ground and 6 spectators were evicted by the Cricket Australia. Okay, and they have issued an apology plus assured Indian Board of Cricket Control and Indian cricketers that they will take the stringent action against them. Okay, so now let's move on the. So see, this is the article from the op-ed. Two information that you need to know, which is one, a policy name. What is the policy name? Faster adoption and manufacturing of hybrid and electric vehicles. Okay. The second thing you need to know, body to explore and mine lithium and cobalt. Okay. What is this body known as? Khanij Bidesh India Limited, Kabil. Okay. It is a combination of 3 public sector undertakings, NALCO, HCL and MECL. The full form of them is given here. Make a note of it from here itself. It was created in 2019. National Aluminium Company, NALCO, Hindustan Copper Limited, HCL, Mineral Exploration Corporation of India, MECL. What is this op-ed about? It is about India finding minerals to buy of lithium and cobalt. What are they used for? In creation of batteries for electric vehicles. India currently relies mostly on crude oil and petroleum vehicles for its consumption. But as you know, electric vehicles are considered to be less environment polluting, and therefore the world is shifting towards electric and hybrid vehicles. So for that we need lithium and cobalt. We don't have enough of that, so we have to import it from Latin America, which has the most amount of resources of lithium and cobalt. Okay, so this is the policy to incentivize it. This is the body that will be exploring and where to buy it from for India. Okay, so in light of electric vehicles in general, make a note of this 2 bodies and policy. Okay, then moving on about the Central Vista judgment. Okay, so the name of the judgment is Rajiv Suri versus Delhi Development Authority. There are 4 major principles about this judgment. Okay, first, rule of law. Second, public participation and heritage. Okay, environmental clearance and deference to the legislature. Okay, or judicial review in general. Okay, so the judicial review aspect we had talked about yesterday and on Saturday, that what are the policies that the judiciary can actually review about the government. Okay, what are the other 3? It is C, the fact, these are the facts of the case, that C, government decided it wants to create a new parliament building, demolish some other buildings on the Lutyens, Delhi, and make new offices for the government, convert the north and south block which houses the 4 important ministries and the PM office, that is Finance Ministry, External Affairs Ministry, Defense Ministry, Home Ministry and the PM house. Okay, the PM office or PMO. Okay, they are now currently housed in north and south block. Okay, they will be moved out, new offices are to be built. The concern was that, see, the government did 2 things. One, while asking for environmental clearance, it did not tell that it is revamping the entire land, but actually sought permission for individual projects, which brought less scrutiny from public participation. Secondly, all of this is about rule of law. That is that there are certain procedures that have been laid down which even the government cannot sidestep. And lastly, a principle of public participation, that when we are talking about heritage of the country, those are things that are relevant for all of us. That is, even if the governments will come and go, but it is about the people who see these landmark buildings all the time, okay? And in light of this, public participation is essential. Now, the court stated that one, the government has followed all the rules that are that were required of it to follow. Secondly, ample amount of time public participation was not so necessary. Time period of 3 days was given for public participation and concerns, and it is something that may be done but is not essential, is what the majority judgment stated. And thirdly, about environmental clearance, it gave the government a clean sheet on that regard. That's if the need of the government versus environment, it is always the need of the government that triumphs, is what the judgment tells us, okay? So these were the 4 concerns. Now, why is there so much discussion about this? Is because it is the right about public participation and environmental clearance. That, see, what this has done is that it has reduced the people. So see, democracy is not just about electing our representatives. It is also about accountability of the actions of the government, okay? And through these principles of public participation, general public can keep the actions of the government in check. By virtue of giving the government a clean sheet, the court has reduced the role of the public. Secondly, about environmental clearance, is that, see, decisions that are taken about environment are irreversible harms, that we cannot reverse them in our lifetime, and therefore higher scrutiny is now required. Gone is the time when climate change was not a reality, but it is a reality now, and therefore in light of that, actions of any body vis-a-vis environment should ask for higher scrutiny, okay? So see, what becomes most important for you all from CLAT perspective are mostly questions that can be asked from procedural aspect. That is, public participation or things, you may be given questions, these are the rules followed, then given a problem that have those been followed or not, okay? On a more deeper analysis, those are things that come in your study at the national law universities per se. These are different questions or interpretation of constitution and policy. So you will not be asked to critique them, okay? You have to know them as it is, which I have told you, okay? So don't worry too much. There is not much. The academic debate within this judgment is something that is part of a deeper constitutional analysis and not much about the CLAT examination perspective, which can question you, okay? What you can be asked is, for example, 10 days time period needs to be to be given for receiving public complaints vis-a-vis a project, and then you can be asked a question about it, okay, in a problem based, and then you can say that 10 days time period, was it given or not. So those kinds of questions may be asked, not even sure about that, okay? So the principles involved I have discussed. We can't comment on what kind of questions can come, but the substantive issues behind this judgment are more in light of discussion in your law school life and not before that, okay? So on that note, I will end for the day. Thank you so much for watching. If you like the work that we are doing, please give this video a thumbs up, and if you are new to the channel, do subscribe to it. Thank you.